Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Small Business Town Hall. I'm Dan McKee, Lieutenant Governor, and every Tuesday at noon we're here talking about issues that are impacting Rhode Island, and in particular the small business community in the state of Rhode Island. So we got to start with we got a celebration right now. We're talking a little bit about Christmas. I'm wearing some Christmas mask or special mask today, but let's talk about the vaccine. I mean, this is worth celebrating. I've given Ben some pictures that were in the westerly sun today. But we've been waiting on this for months, and this is a time to reflect and count our blessings during the holiday season, during the Christmas season and Hanukkah season, and so we count our blessings. But this is a blessing. These were pictures that were taken for the first vaccine that happened in Providence with one of our doctors, and the process that they're going through with making sure the vaccines are coming in refrigerated and then distributed. That's the first doctor that got a vaccine in the state of Rhode Island yesterday. So we're very hopeful and very thankful that we can kind of take a look at the beginning of the end to a certain degree. We got a lot of work to do, and there's a lot more behaviors that we need to make sure that we're on top of. But I think this marks the beginning of the end. We'll just see how long it's going to take to get the vaccines out, and also see what the impact is going to be on us. But if nothing's going to bring a smile to your face right now, I don't know what will. This is a very important moment, in this world that we've been living in since the pandemic began. So I just thought that was noteworthy. The issues that we're going to talk about today have to do with the small businesses. The governor and I have been in communications. The governor wrote me a letter last weekend. I responded to her letter, and we're going to be in direct conversation with Steve Cavanaugh, who does the government relations out of the governor's office. But we know that we're coming up on a deadline of December 30th for the CARES Act funds. Those are, for a reminder, those are federal dollars that were appropriated to the states back in the spring, and those dollars were to be used to help fight the COVID and to pay those overhead expenses, whether it's opening up our field hospitals or the PPE, the masks, and all the related items to help keep us safe. But also part of that CARES Act funding was to provide grants to small businesses throughout the state, and we're coming on the deadline. So we wrote a letter asking the governor to give us real-time numbers, her office, real-time numbers on all the dollars that were appropriated to help the small business, whether it was the Restore Rhode Island grant or the Pause grants that were just appropriated earlier this month, or whether it was the job training grants or the kind of the reinventing your business grants or the hotel and the art grants, and do an accounting on a real-time basis of how many dollars are left that have not been distributed, and then to roll those dollars into a fund and then distribute those dollars to the businesses that have applied already in the Pause or the Restore, and fairly equitably allocate those dollars. If we had, say, $150 million that was allocated to help the small businesses in the state of Rhode Island, a good story is that we get the $150 million out. It's not going to be perfect, but to get the $150 million out. A bad story would be we appropriated $150 million for the small businesses, and we were only able to distribute a portion of that, 70, 80 million of that. Let's figure out a plan as we come down the stretch here to distribute all those dollars to the small businesses that have been impacted by this virus. As I said, there's no perfect distribution strategy, but there is a way to make sure that all the dollars that were allocated out of those CARES Act dollars to help small businesses, in fact, get to the small business community in the state of Rhode Island in all 39 cities and towns. Finally, before we get into our guests, I want to talk about education again. We're going to continually talk about education. I've been on the record as saying that that we should have the local school departments, the local LEAs, the different school districts control their schedule, control what happens. They know what's happening on the ground. They know what's happening with their students, with their parents, with their teachers, with their staff. And then have the state support that plan. Basically, that's what's happening right now. But they're just like we just talked about the vaccine being a critical piece. Well, the schools got all they can handle to just deliver what they're trying to deliver right now in terms of opening or hybrid, so whatever mechanism they're using. But we know that there's been hundreds of hours of lost learning time for our students. And it doesn't matter whether you're coming from a high income, low income, moderate income family. It doesn't matter if you're coming from a minority, non-minority. Doesn't matter if you're attending private schools or public schools, or charter schools. All our young people in the state that are in our schools, school age, are being impacted by this virus, and they're losing valuable learning time. So we got to figure out a strategy to help support our districts in terms of how to catch up on those hours. I'm recommending, again, to really take a strong look at municipal education departments. I was able to open up one as a mayor in the town of Cumberland, now Mayor Murray, and now Mayor Mutter, managed that department and education department out of the mayor's office. 52 weeks a year of learning going on in that department with their leadership there, reading, math, science, art, music, leadership programs, robotics programs, theater programs, 52 weeks out of the year. And that's what we need to do, is double down. We need more time to make up the time, right? We got to put more time in, and we can't expect our schools to make up that time in the challenges that they're dealing with. They got enough on their hands. We need to figure out something creative there. That's my recommendation. If you have a better idea or other ideas of how we can help the students that are losing learning time right now, please share with us. Call our office, 222-222-2371, or email us at ltgob20@gmail.com. Anytime, anything that you want to share with us, or you want us to get back to you, those are the contacts in our office. All right, Ben, I'm good for the opening. Thank you so much for putting up those vaccines, and the first doctor was able to get vaccinated in the state of Rhode Island. That's a good thing that's coming down the line. Joe Rodeo, thank you for being here. Mark Haywood, thank you for being here. I'm glad you got your masks on. I did I did make a special mask. I did make up a special mask, if you can see. Merry Christmas.
Very nice.
It's a
Santa. Governor, I have an opportunity to go out and get one. So I got a blue one in honor of Hanukkah. So that's about as I know Liz is trying to get us to. So I did blue in honor of Hanukkah. I thought that was pretty good. I think
that's good. Then we got it covered. We got the Merry Christmas and we got the Hanukkah. That's really good.
Yeah. And is Joe's? I can't see Joe's. Is it just? What color is it?
Blue. It's also blue.
Blue.
Oh, okay. We need one in honor of Festivus.
Well, hopefully Liz has got that covered. Hopefully Liz has that covered.
I hope so, Governor.
Mark, a good day yesterday with the vaccine. I don't know if you saw the opening, but I wanted to really point out that was a real critical point in time for us, and we'll see where it goes from here. But boy, that's a moment.
I absolutely agree with you, Governor. Now that Moderna, it appears that Moderna will be out and will be giving Moderna. It will supplement the Pfizer vaccine, so that means that we'll be doubling down on the number of vaccines that are going to be given over the next 30 days. I think that's really critical. And I realize that we're giving to healthcare workers first, which is critical, as well as those who are in nursing homes. There's no question about that. Long and the short of it is we're going to get to the point where we really need to get the business community back up and running, Governor. And what I did not know that I was watching a Channel 12 piece about what the state is doing as it relates to small businesses. And I didn't realize until I saw the woman in Newport who said that she was not eligible under this she's retail, and she was not eligible under this latest grant program. And Joe, is that correct?
If the conditions of her store, didn't change on the basis of the pause, then I believe she's not eligible for it.
So, but it is critical that, and I've been saying it all along. Hospitality, which includes restaurant, hoteliers, and retail establishments, as well as, and I included this in the last time that we talked about gyms. I mean, it's a real crushing blow to them, and I realize that we're at that point. I hope and pray that we can move a package from a federal standpoint, because and I just talked to a couple of friends of mine in Washington just about 20 minutes ago and said, listen, we're at a critical juncture here, not only here in Rhode Island, but across the nation. Certainly, I understand that they need to put in some kind of caveats so that it's going to the people who really need it. I do know, talking to some people within SBA, that they are ready to stand the program up. It may take them a couple of days to get it going, but the long and the short of it is we need to get liquidity out to the small business community so we can get through that. And I think everybody, Senator McConnell was just on the floor talking about that. So, and I know that the minority leader talked about that a little bit earlier today. It's really critical that we get this package out. I don't know what else to say. I will tell you that we did have a discussion with Washington yesterday. There appears to be some change, and I'm not sure where we are with all of those people who've been affected by idle fraud. They're now asking that we go back and get affidavits. So we're going to have to go back through all of everything that we've done so far, because the most important thing for people who have been subjected to idle fraud, Governor, is the fact that they need to get that off their credit, and they need to get that expunged from their liability to have to pay that loan back. So there's a couple of things we need to do. We just got wind of this yesterday, so it's all new and news to us.
Yeah. So Mark, I think that again, we're certain preaching to the choir, talking to one another about getting cash and credit to the. So the governor did, respond to my letter of last week, which we asked to kind of fill in some loose ends, accelerate, make this thing a lot simpler. This letter that Joe helped me draft yesterday speaks to let's find out real-time numbers right now of what has been what was allocated to help small businesses in the state and what has gone unused, and then take the dollars from all the different programs, pull it together, and then get more checks out to these businesses before Christmas. It would be a shame if we appropriated, say, $150 million for businesses and only got 70 or 80 million out to the businesses. So that's
we want to stop people from shutting down. That's basically where we're at right now.
And we're going to have some businesses on the tail end of the program here that fit exactly what you just talked about. A business that has been totally impacted by the pause, but doesn't fit into the criteria, so can't qualify for the pause dollars. Joe, first of all, on the vaccine, you got a family member. Your wife is one of the frontline workers. So what does that mean to you and your family and the world about this vaccine coming out?
Yeah, well, it's really important to us because regardless of our own health, when things get the way they are, we really lock down a lot tighter. She's going in and out of a Boston hospital, and thankfully she got her update yesterday. She'll get a scheduling window this week to get her first dose. And it just, in terms of seeing the grandparents, having the grandkids around the grandparents, it makes us feel a lot more comfortable once she's had the vaccine. So hopefully she'll be on the early end because of her direct treatment of COVID patients. And then that'll only be 28 days from the second dose, and we'll feel a lot better after that.
Well, we thank Kara and everybody that's been walking in her shoes for the last 9 months, the front line for sure. So that's why I felt as though it was important to highlight that, especially as we're coming into this holiday season, and counting our blessings, right? So that's clearly a blessing. You helped me put that
small businesses until we're comfortable, that we're not bringing in a virus. So we'll get
Yes.
vaccinated and we'll be able to get back to some activity, hopefully, if everybody does the right thing.
Yeah,
I want to jump in what Joe was talking about, its impact on small businesses, because he doesn't want to take the family out. And I understand you don't want to have that exposure. So, Joe, I hope that you're going through those small businesses online.
Absolutely.
And you're ordering online.
Every day at lunch when
I did it I sat there last night and did a bunch more on small businesses, just, picking them out one by one. And they have been resilient. It's probably not as much fun as going and looking and touching and seeing. But the bottom line is to order online for those small businesses. And I've ordered from small businesses in East Greenwich, in Wickford, in Newport, in Westerly. And it's really fun. I mean, I've gone online to the Chambers of Commerce and kind of gone down the list, Governor, to see what it is. But I have to tell you, I'm really happy that so far Barbers are still open, because I had to get a haircut. So,
I got one comment. That's going to come.
If you don't have an idea for a gift, Mark, the small businesses are great.
Well, thanks for reminding me that I need one. I don't know if you need one, Mark, but thanks for reminding me.
Come on.
There you go. Joe, you helped me craft a letter to the governor based on her response, and just give it a little overview of what we collectively think, in this immediate time. And then, of course, we'll be in contact with Mark, as he's talked about, as what's potentially coming down the line in January, February, March to help these small businesses, and we'll be right on top of that with Mark's help. But share a little bit about some of our thoughts of how we can, end the stretch coming down to the last few days in the most productive way possible.
Sure. Well, even as of last night at 11:59, we had a deadline for a lot of impacted businesses to apply for pause grants over at Revenue. And so it seems like, although there's been money budgeted, there are going to be circumstances where we're going to be approaching December 30 with money that goes unspent. And I haven't really heard, a sort of a backup plan. So your proposal was and has been, make sure at a minimum we take anything that was earmarked for small business support. We've already got businesses that have qualified. They've certainly been affected. They've gone through all of the, federal audit requirements through the Restore Rhode Island program. So roll those funds in. Whatever couldn't be allocated, either you didn't get enough applications, maybe during the pause there weren't as many people as budgeted for on unemployment, getting the extra $200. So roll those funds back into the Restore program and start sending out another round of checks. Because certainly the businesses have been impacted more than was anticipated when the feds put those monies in place back in the spring, and more than we maybe even anticipated over the summer when some of the Restore Rhode Island grant programs were designed. And so it seems like the most meaningful impact to Rhode Island families, to Rhode Island businesses that you can have right now is make sure these businesses know that they can keep supporting their families, weather this hard time. Well, we just hope that our friends in DC come through with some additional support.
And Joe, the Fed help was 8 months ago.
Yep.
I mean, that's a substantial amount of time. And I realize that we've gone through these ups and downs where we've had closures and opened and closed and opened, but still, it's those kind of hills and valleys that really cause cash flow problems for small businesses. That's why, Governor, we will be here whenever you need us once the new program comes out. I did ask a couple of friends of mine who work on the systems and said it will take them 5 to 6 days to stand whatever new requirements up. And we have been communicating with the banks. I've communicated with the banks this morning because that liquidity issue is very important. But to get back to what Joe was saying, this 8 months of up and down really is what's had the impact on the business community. We really, I know I feel like a broken record, Governor, and I know I've been here for 39 years, but the bottom line is it's a liquidity issue that we got to keep these businesses alive. And, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I think we can all see it. The vaccine really has provided that ray of light that we need, but we need to get them beyond the ray of light so that our business community will thrive and survive.
Yes. And Mark, so, I think that lessons learned can be carried over when the next round comes in. But right now we have this immediacy. We're sitting on December 15th today, December 30th. what are you
realize
going to do to make sure that the dollars that were intended to help the small businesses actually get there? So that's what we're going to work right down to the final minute. We'll work on that, and then we'll shift gears into the next strategies, and hopefully lessons learned. We have a different allocation process for these small businesses that's a lot easier.
Nothing happens. December the 30th is the last day for EIDL loans as well. So you got to get your application in. We were told yesterday, Governor, that if you had an application in and you were denied and you're now into reconsideration of EIDL, that will carry on because those funds have been reserved. So the reconsiderations, but if you do not have an application in by December the 30th, you're going to be out of luck.
Well, I think that's an important one. And we'll put up your contact information, Mark, but of course they can contact our office and we'll make sure that they get to you. All right. Mark, thank you. And we'll be on next week, but enjoy the season and let's count our blessings. Ben, you got something for
I'll be with you next week. I'll be here next week. Happy Hanukkah, Ben.
Happy Hanukkah, Mark. I have one question for you from Liz. This is not a Christmas mask, but I thought it was appropriate. I have one question for you from Nicole, who says, if this new federal aid does come through, how can we ensure it gets to small businesses much faster than it did since the spring? You guys
remember, the SBA programs go through our participating lenders, and they got a tremendous amount of money. We got 1.7 or 1.8 billion dollars on the street within 8 weeks here in Rhode Island, and I think that's pretty remarkable, to be very candid with you. I assure you that the lenders, and we continue to talk with them each and every day, so we will continue to push that. And I talked to a lender this morning, said we're ready. We're changing our systems to make it faster than we had in the spring. So they're ready for it. It's just a matter of what are the requirements going to be.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Ben. Joe, you're going to stick with us with Matt. Matt, come on.
Governor, how are you?
Oh, yeah. I think you got a little holiday spirit there.
So I
want to share mine.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Joe's. I don't have a holiday mask, but I did find a red bandana, and I am sitting in front of a decorated area. So that's the best I can do for Santa.
My holiday mask will convert into a Santa's hat by the end of the show.
I like it. My beard will be my beard until the end of the show. Now it's getting whiter every day.
You won't trim it during the show. That's good. Yeah.
How things going, Matt?
We're busy, but the increase hasn't been insurmountable. So it's been busy, but we're only up a few thousand certifications week over week. We're up a few thousand claim filings week over week. I think, unfortunately, people have been engaged for such a long time with the system that we'd be able to get people right back in without too many problems. Yesterday, we had a call center issue with the technology that provides the telephone services to the call center. That's been resolved. It's wide open today. They're taking calls. We've been over 1,500 calls a day, pretty much every day. That's incredible. I think a lot of those calls they're not unnecessary. They're helping people, but they're with general questions. So I'm going to point people to our website as well, which is dlt.ri.gov. There is information on the website that tells people what happens with these programs as the year goes on. We're really hopeful that this week they figure something out in Congress that extends some of these federal programs. Right now, we don't know. We don't want to cause a sense of panic. Let's just wait and see what happens this week. They did tie it to a federal funding bill that needs to get passed. So hopefully there will be some action. Other than that, we're paying the $200 bonus every week. We paid it last week. We're paying it this week. And as the governor announced last week, we're going to pay it again next week. So the issue with that is that we need to have that money available because we pay it in arrears. So if you had a claim that was held up for some reason and now it's approved, we can pay you for that time. Of course, there's going to be an date and time on that because of the CARES Act requirements. So at some point, we'll put on our website that you must request your payment or resolve your issue by this day and time, or you will not be able to get access to that $200, just because we can't take a chance and leave it in an account. Otherwise, things continue to be busy, and our staff is continuing to work very hard. So, and I passed on your well wishes to them. They all appreciate it. They're working hard. They've been recognized for that. but they're still doing it 7 days a week. So I just want to say thank you to them.
And then how many people are on unemployment right now in the state, Matt? Do you have a
75,000 people requested a payment last week.
75,000,
which has been fairly consistent. It was 70 a few weeks ago, so it's gone up a little bit.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, well, thanks for all your work. And then things are going to change, as you say, based on what gets passed in DC and what gets extended and what doesn't get extended. And that's why we're so it's been very important for us to have you on, and because that's really important information for 75,000 people in the state of Rhode Island, 1,500 calls a day, you're saying, right? That you're getting.
We're taking a lot more calls. We're helping 1,500 people. So 20,000 people.
Having you here to share those contact strategies, those things that are happening. I know hundreds and hundreds of people are getting some real valuable information. So 2 thumbs up to you guys.
Well,
Joe, you got anything?
We appreciate it.
Yep.
No, thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Ben, you got anything for Matt? I think we're good then, Matt. Just keep on doing the good work. Ben, you got anything?
No.
Nope. Good.
Nah, no.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, everybody. Stay well.
Thank you, Matt. All right, we got Liz on. Oh, Santa's elf.
I got my Santa's elf on. What do you think?
I like it. I like it a lot.
There you go.
I like it. You are definitely the leader of the charge here on the mask.
I'm
There's
trying.
I've converted my Santa's hat into a mask.
I could just do it with a neck. I could bring it up.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of choices here. I saw that and I thought that looks kind of like an elf hat. So we've got the whole thing going. You've got the top.
We got the whole thing going. I will convert it into a hat before the end. When I was a mayor, we ran a Santa parade to raise dollars and we our town hall adopted families and we raised dollars. So we had the Santa hats and we would go around and we would, we'd sell them for $10. We'd have 300 or 400 people in it and we'd have a nice little celebration and then we'd raise some money. So this is a leftover, but I converted that into a mask because I heard that you had the holiday theme.
Well, I do. We
like
have the perfect combination if we had both on at the same time. So
yes. Well, thanks, Liz.
Too funny.
Yeah.
Mark's got to step it up a little bit. He's got to get a little more holiday spirit. Ben's trying. I'll give him credit. Chris Parisi
we got another week.
I put the tree. We'll see.
I put our tree in the background to just kind of show that I'm trying to keep up with you.
Keep trying, Ben. Keep trying. You're getting there.
Yeah, well, we got one more week to figure it out, and then we've got to make sure that we get all the different holiday traditions and celebrations represented here. So, thanks, Liz.
This comes from Imagine in Warren. If anybody's looking for something creative, nice local small business.
There you go. That's even better. That's really great. The vaccine. I'm giving everybody a chance to talk a little bit about the vaccine. What does that mean to us?
Well, I was actually going to talk about some data. So, there's been a lot of bad press lately out there about businesses who are being inspected, right? So not just in Rhode Island, but you're seeing stuff really around the whole country. People, the business owners are rightfully very upset about whatever restrictions are upon them. And things are sometimes kind of getting a little out of control. So I just wanted to give some data about what that looks like in Rhode Island so that people can understand how hard we have worked to handhold businesses and kind of walk them through the process. So as you know, I've been preaching since day one that what we're trying to do is build customer confidence, right? We want people to want to feel comfortable to go out to dinner. We want them to feel comfortable to go shopping. Those are all things that are very important, and that's what we're trying to do. And so we still receive over 500 complaints a week. Sometimes it's up to 1,000. It really just depends. But we get about 500 complaints a week. Most of that is about mask wearing. We do something about every single complaint that we get. We do about 750 to 1,000 inspections per week with our inspectors being out, anywhere from 8 in the morning up until midnight on the weekends. So we do a lot of inspections with our businesses. And we've done over 28,000 inspections heavily so far. That doesn't include the stuff in the beginning, but as far as being able to document the data and things like that. But to give you a sense of how great Rhode Island's businesses are and how hard they are trying, you need to understand that over 90% of businesses last week scored in the perfect range. So 90.334% scored in the perfect range for their business type. That's just truly remarkable that businesses are working so hard to make our customers feel confident so that they can go out. So, and every single week we list on the DBR website who received a perfect score. So if you're looking for a place to go out to dinner, or you're looking for a place to go shopping, that's the place to go look, right? Because if you're nervous about what you might encounter, look for the businesses who have scored perfectly. You can see that, and we update that every single week. Another thing that we do is to work with the businesses when they're having non-compliance issues. And to give you a sense, out of that 28,000 businesses that we have inspected, we have done 180 orders and about 164 citations. And those citations are almost exclusively about mask wearing for certain business owners who refuse to wear masks or wear them improperly. So that's about 344. So if you do the math, and I'm not a good math person, it comes out to about 1.2%, right? So that's really a very low number to give you a sense of what you're looking at. So you're really only seeing the biggest offenders, because we do try to give everybody gets at least 2 inspections, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, depending on what their situation is. So I just wanted to provide that data out there so that you can get a sense of how safe it is in Rhode Island with our businesses, because they are working so hard and trying so hard, and we're so grateful for them. And if you're concerned about which businesses are places you might want to be a little more nervous about, or places that have had problems in the past, you can see that on the DBR website. And if you want to shop in the places who've gotten perfect scores, that information is publicly available as well. So I think I've seen it scroll on the bottom. It's on the DBR website. So I just wanted to share that information so that everybody can get a sense. If you want to have an inspection, because some people like to advertise that they've gotten a perfect score, all you got to do is reach out to us, and we would be more than happy to do an inspection so that you can get that information out there that you've done well. And if you're not perfect, we're going to work with you until you want to be perfect, and we'll make that happen. So that's what I wanted to share today, LG, and I'm always happy to come on and show my masks. Next week, I'll have to see what I can figure out for the holidays.
Well,
maybe I'll have to convert something like you did.
You know, the people who are doing the work, and to make sure that we're inspecting and that type of thing. You know, this time of year we kind of get with the Scrooge, but this has to be done, and we get that. And the behavior issues is something that we're starting to work on in our office. We had a great call with Westerly last week talking about behaviors and centraling the messaging by a community. We just got off a call today with Central Falls, with the mayor-elect, with a number of the local community groups. Constantly, we need to kind of reinforce the fact that that we got to support safe habits wherever they are. Some people have to go to a job. They go to a job. So how do they be safe? And that's some of the things you're working on. And some people's behavior is taking more risks than they should. How do we keep them safe if they're gonna be inclined to go that way? And how do we get them to change their behavior? More importantly, and then, as I say, I have family members that are taking zero risk. And won't even come into my house, right? But we understand that, so we know it's not easy, and we have to be understanding of where everybody is. But there is a need for oversight. So I want to thank you and your staff for doing that, and hopefully we're going to be doing what we did with the garden shops months ago. Is if we find that bordering states have keeping activity going on in their gyms or the dance studios, and we're not, we should really know why, and then take a look at where we can be more flexible, because that flexibility is still so important. You're going to hear some businesses on after we have our talk, that the anxiety level is so high, Liz, and the understanding that what's at risk for them right now in many ways is their livelihood, their homes, their kids' college education, and the way that we as small businesses, and I've gone through it, we only can see what's ahead of us, right now. We don't see what might happen. That's why I put the vaccine up. We don't really focus on what might be happening in a year from now when we're at such a risk right now. So I mean, that the temperatures are so high. Hopefully we can get some of those dollars out to those communities to give them a little relief, and take a little give you guys a little relief too, because as the anxiety is raised, and people think that they're going to lose their business or lose their homes, or not put food on their table or not have Christmas gifts for their kids as a result of what's going on, that's what really creates high levels of anxiety that, that come down on your office as well. So flexibility, I'm still into flexibility. Joe, you got anything for Liz?
No, I really like the certificate, Liz. And, I talk to a lot of people who are, you bring up Imagine and some of those great stores who are getting to the point this time of year where they're afraid to go into, the big box places because of the crowds. A lot of places like you're talking about, a lot of places doing the hard work, getting the certificate, posting it are our true small businesses. And those are, oftentimes much less crowded, much safer environments. So thanks for doing that work and giving people the confidence to go to those places.
Shop small, shop local.
Ben might have a question. Ben might have a question. Ben, you got a question?
I do have a question, and it's not just payback for Liz making fun of my mask in the chat. But, so Shay sent me a question from someone, I'm not sure who. What happens when an employee gets a ticket for improper mask wearing per the last town hall that we did?
So that goes to the business owner. And so we ask the business owner to work with their employees to make sure they're wearing their masks or wearing them properly, or that they have properly fitting masks. We have seen situations, there is an obligation of employers to provide employees with masks appropriate to the job, different kinds of masks for different kinds of scenarios. And we want to make sure they're safe. If the employer does not have access to the right masks, you should just reach out to us and we'll get you the right masks for whatever it is that you do.
Thanks, Liz. Hopefully we'll be with each other next week. If not, we count our blessings. So enjoy.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Great back at you. Joe, anything else before we bring on our coalition crew?
No, on our end, Gov, I guess we'll just be watching Washington, trying to provide some advanced info. And, we heard, obviously, an update on the unemployment rolls. Obviously, it's twofold a good sign that we haven't hit towards the 100,000 projected. One, because we don't want those extra 25,000 people to be out of work. And two, because, it may make remaining funds available for the small businesses. So thanks. We'll keep an eye on all those things.
Yeah, real-time numbers very important right now. And up to this point, we've got estimates. So real-time numbers, this is the time, as you pointed out in the letter that you helped me draft, that if we got them, let's share them so that we can make, good decisions. And if dollars have been appropriated to help the small businesses, let's get it out to the small businesses. I would say make the same argument if dollars have been appropriated to help the medical side or the local municipalities, or where it might be. That accounting is as important for them as it is for the small businesses to have this accounting so that those dollars get distributed where we thought they should go.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah. We got, I think we got Chris and Justin coming on, and Laurie. I see Jennifer there. Jennifer's always welcome here in this conversation. Chris, welcome. Tell us a little bit about our where we are, where the coalition is right now, and in particular the meeting that you had yesterday, which was, very interactive. Let's put it that way.
Yes, it sure was. I have my Christmas mask on here for Liz. It has puppies and it has
nice. Let me see that, Chris. You might get the award. Let me see this, Chris. Oh yeah, you definitely are the odds-on favorite. Although Liz did have the.
I don't know. I decorated mine too.
Okay, well then you get the award for creativity there, Laurie. But I think Chris is trying to hit it. Chris is kind of hit it out of the park there. Where did you get that one, Chris?
I know. Actually, my aunt made it, custom made it. So she's loves her arts and crafts. So this has puppies and Christmas. I mean, two of the most special things in the world. So, but very creative from Laurie. But like you said, Lieutenant Governor, yesterday's weekly coalition call was very engaging. A lot of small businesses are just simply frustrated We've been saying for a while they're running out of time, and now we're at a point where the time has run out. And it's scary. We're all seeing the social post out there of all of these businesses, whether they're restaurants or other local businesses that are being shut down. And they're asking for help, and why haven't we got the funds that were deemed for us? Or even the funds that were sent out was simply not enough. $10,000 sent in July, August, September is not helping them right now, as their business is just a small percentage of what it was. So like you mentioned in your response, in your letter to the governor, the small businesses agree and want real-time accounting, not updates from October 30th, not estimates and allocations. We need real-time data of how much money has been spent, so we can see how much money is left, so we can make these educated and quick decisions to get cash into the business's hands ASAP. We understand that there's no more money left to be allocated extra, but there's a lot of money left over to be spent. Not all of that money has been spent yet. So that's why we're asking, and you're asking, which we appreciate, for that real-time data, so we can get cash into the hands of the money. A few other notes, Lieutenant Governor, from the PAWS grant. We fought to get for the non-restaurants to get it based on gross receipts, which was great. But the restaurants, they're saying this is not helpful. One business that has tens of thousands of dollars of fixed expenses per month is saying he's going to get a $500 check. They based it on September 2020 revenue numbers. I don't need to, everyone knows it wasn't a great year for restaurants at all. They should be basing it on November of 2019, last year's receipts, so that they can get enough money to cover their fixed expenses. They were told to keep their employees employed, their staff employed, but then they still haven't received the money, or don't know if they received the money because of communication. So we're asking Commerce, Taxation to change it so that it's based on the November or December 2019 numbers, not September 2020. How is that going to help them when they barely made any money? That was their worst months, was these past months. So the last part,
because let me just talk about that quickly. And then as you said, adjustments were made for the fitness center. Took people were going to get $500 up to $28,000, $30,000. We can still do this. We can still rethink about the calculation, how that's calculated, whether it's done as you suggested, or whether it was done as another business suggested, which was, give us the same criteria, do it on gross revenues for a year and give us a percentage of that. We had a business on yesterday, right, that said that they would go from 500 to 50,000. That's a big variation, and their need isn't closer to the 50,000, if not more, than 500. And we heard for the first time from that individual that this is probably the last nail in the coffin. If they're not able to change that formula and the way that those dollars are calculated in terms of the grants, this very well may be the nail in the coffin for this particular business. And so, what you're talking about, and it is, if you go right on top of it, it's an instant correction in terms of the way that you could do it, and you still have time, even though we're up against the last minute of this this contest, I guess you would call it, or this game that we're playing right now. What else did you have that you wanted to add in, Chris?
Yes, the gyms are very vocal in the coalition and asking to deem that gyms and fitness centers are declared an essential business. So we listened to the coalition members, and we first questioned, well, what about the health side? What about the risk? We need to make decisions based on data, not just say something because we want it. So there actually was a request sent out to the Department of Health, and as we scroll down, it shows some of the data that says that there are only 44 cases traced to gyms and fitness out of the tens of thousands of cases. And that's also, keep in mind, these big box stores aren't doing contact tracing when you go into Home Depot. So sometimes the small business may get the brunt of this. So the data shows that it's not a super spreader. And the facts show that health, physical health and mental health, but physical health is a way to be proactive to combat COVID-19. We got to fight a health crisis with supporting our health businesses. And the community was very vocal. And, this is what the coalition does. We listen to our members and we fight for them and advocate for what they're looking for. And they want to be deemed an essential business so that whenever there's any future pauses or future lockdowns, that they're still open so that their community members can get that reprise, get that physical health and that mental health that they all need. So that was the most recent update as well.
Yeah, well, I think that's thoughtful and in terms of like the approach there. And as I mentioned to Liz when she was on, is that we're still going to be advocating for level playing fields between our bordering states, just like we did way back when on the garden shops, when the farms were ready to lose tens of thousands, $100,000 of inventory that they couldn't get out because we had shut down the garden shops. Yet Massachusetts was open, the big box stores open, garden shops were open. So that inconsistency, needs to be addressed, as well as, dance studios who are, are open in Connecticut, open in Massachusetts. Joe Rodeo was telling me how he went to his son, to his nephew's black belt competition, or this weekend, and it was regulated and make sure the distancing and all that type of stuff. But yet we're sitting in a state that we haven't taken that into consideration. So I think those are all important things. We'll keep on going along because this is with us for a while, and then the recovery is going to be with us for even, for a good amount of time. I want to go to Jennifer, then Lori. Lori, I wanted to have you end with the shop local stuff that Mark Haywood was talking about. But Jennifer, we were kind of a little discourse today about the competitive grants. I tell us what's going on that in your mind, and I'll share you what I'm thinking, because I think that with the money should just be going equitably out. This competition during a time when we're in a crisis and people are trying to fight for survival, I just think it just sends the wrong message that we're kind of like fighting one another for the last scrap of whatever on the table.
It definitely feels a little Hunger Games for us right now. There's so many different programs, and I guess that's what's making it really complicated. There's about 5 different grant programs that we can apply for, between Restore Ride, Pause, the Business Adaptation Grant, the remote work. And as a business owner, it gets really complicated of which business can apply for what. And somebody like myself that has been helping many other businesses, I've applied for other businesses that I haven't applied for my own. So like example, the Pause grant. So I did not get shut down. Thankfully, I'm still open. I don't qualify to apply for the Pause grant, but I was affected by the pause. I'm at work, but I work in downtown, so a lot of the offices are closed. So it may not affect me as far as opening my doors, but business is down 25 to 50%, and I cannot apply for anything. And as far as the business adaptation grant, we had a big conversation yesterday in our meeting with another business owner that Commerce called him and pretty much haggled with him to take less money, and then asked him to apply for another one, and then he lost the initial grant. So it's just very confusing of how Commerce is actually picking and choosing who gets the money. And I received the email this morning of denial from the business adaptation grant, but I can still apply for remote work, which I would love Commerce to tell me how I can remote work doing a haircut. Because are you even reading what we're writing in our essays? You're asking us to write all these essays. And then is anybody really paying attention to what the need of the businesses are? And that's the frustrating part. They want me to apply for another grant by tomorrow afternoon, which I don't qualify for. I mean, if you read the criteria, my business shouldn't even be applying for that grant. So, and then I got another email after that a little while ago to consider reapplying. And it's just frustrating because they want you to reapply for what? For you just to get denied again? We saw what happened with the restaurant. They applied for 5 different types of grants and nothing. They've received $0. So it's just frustrating. Overall, I just feel very let down by, Governor Raimundo, and even my own, the city of Providence hasn't offered Providence businesses much. I just joined another coalition of downtown merchants, and it's for restaurants, but I asked if I can join because we don't really have much for us out here. So it's just frustrating. It's frustrating on the daily.
Jennifer, I think that the your comments are, again, we're running against the clock on the CARES Act dollars, December 30th. So, we're going to do what we can, but lessons learned here. If we have a certain amount of dollars, allocate them as fairly as you can to all the businesses that need them. It's no perfect formula, but when you start having people start compete for the grants, you're going to pick winners and losers, and then you're going to get 10 applications for every grant or whatever it might be. So you're going to instead of dividing that money amongst the 10 people, you're going to hurt 9 businesses and help 1. So God bless the one that gets help, but there's a fairer way to distribute limited resources, and competition, like you say, like the Hunger Games. You're throwing out the last scrap of food and asking hungry people to go fight over it. That is not, it just shouldn't be happening like that in my mind, Jennifer. So thanks for sharing that. I think that the information, not only that gets shared in the coalition, has been important during the months that are leading up to the December 30th, but they're going to be critical for us to keep that message alive as we, think about lessons learned, as more resources potentially will come. And Mark here will kind of let us know when those come. But yeah, there's a better way to distribute those. Jennifer, thank you so much for your leadership through all this. Hosting the first press conference all the way on down to everything else that's going on. Lori, give us a little bit of holiday spirit in terms of shop local. We can't forget that these businesses are trying to do business. And I know that you're working on that. So give us a little overview.
The frustration level is so high. You're right. The anxiety. The frustration level is high. This is incredible. I will say my daughter will get the vaccine on Thursday. She's a doctor in Texas, so I'm happy to know that. And I do want to thank you for the letter. I think the letter was important and necessary, and the businesses, we are in touch with the businesses every day, and we need to go shopping online, but not everybody has the funds in their family to just go shopping online. It's not as easy as it sounds, but the Shop Local Rhode Island site is getting really great traffic. So we hope that the people in Rhode Island are supporting their neighborhood businesses. They can, like Liz was saying, she shops in the East Bay in Warren. And so anybody can go into the site, into their own community, and support their own community. They are, that's really important. And we do have tags for businesses that say, we're operating under the state guidelines. So customers will know that they're taking these precautions around safety. We're encouraging the businesses to get their photos up there so people, want to browse and look at the things that they sell and not just put their listing up. But we are definitely doing everything we can. But I feel the frustration, and I just have to say thank you for having this platform and really allowing the awareness of the idea that we can do this, but we really need to start supporting the businesses. They support our families.
They can go to the shoplocalrhodeisland.com. As Mark says, the chambers have got their local sites up. I know that we post those up at the rismallbusiness.org site. Just encouraging people as they do shopping to do it local. I think that message is a strong one. And then the coalition, we're going to continue to, fight the good fight up to December 30th and then beyond, because I think that's where the lessons learned, Chris, are really going to kick in. And I think that we need to, we're strategizing on those lessons learned. And if, the governor's asked me to be in contact with Steve Cavanaugh, I think that's progress, because now I'm going to do a direct contact to him, which we have. And we're hearing that portal information is going to be updated. I don't know if it's going to be updated real time or whether it's going to be just more estimates, but they really need to get real time. So I want to thank you all for being here. We'll be here again next week. And then
LG, I'd love to just say that we're businesses, but we are also small businesses. So we don't, I think I'd say to all the businesses, Jen, myself, Justin, we're all operating our own businesses and we're all going through this at the same time. And so we sense your frustration. We hear you. It's incredible.
And haircut gift certificates make great stocking stuffers.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Jennifer. Well, what I've been telling businesses is that along the line Laurie was talking about is that the businesses are need help right now. We should be giving it. Simple as that. So if you're thinking about spending some dollars and you're going to be spending some dollars over the next couple of weeks, find a local business to shop at. That's a nice and clear message. And we know that every business that's going to come on now, I want to bring on for the last 10, 15 minutes, give everybody a little chance to introduce themselves. And everybody who's sharing a story, which I think is very important, is that they're not only sharing their own story here, but they also are sharing a story that's consistent with hundreds of other small businesses, regardless of who they are. So I don't know whether we have Crystal and Mike, Diane, Joe, and Carl, that's who we're scheduled to come on. Please come on, and I'll take one at a time and a little bit of your thoughts about what we're trying to do and how we're trying to get the governor's attention on some things, even at this late in the game. So let's start off like Diane. Diane, thank you so much for being here. You're involved with all the coalitions. Your story is consistent with everybody else's story. Just share that and give us like your thoughts of where we should be going from here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for all your support. We did not qualify as a travel agency for the PAWS grant. I filed for the PAWS grant because we were also a meeting and event planner. And so our next number will not match, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping for the best. We haven't heard, no, we're not going to get it. But so we'll see. Haven't gotten any money yet. But 10 months into it, this is extremely difficult. I know, Mike, you said the same thing yesterday. This is very difficult right now. And the governor was asking everybody not to furlough people. Well, it's 2 weeks into it, and she just let checks go last Friday. I mean, these are small businesses. We don't have, a lot of money sitting there so we can, pay our people for 2 weeks without the support of them. So, that's one thing. We're doing our best here. We're still open. We have some people employed. We have furloughed a lot. I have to say that. But we're still around. We're going to be, dear God, I hope we're going to be here next year. We're just doing the best we can. This is very, very difficult.
But I mean, yeah, and that's why we responded to the governor's letter with our letter, because not every business is getting benefit of the PAWS. And as Mike's going to say shortly, the businesses that are getting benefit on the PAWS, the calculation is not helping, right? So that's, Diane, that's why I think that we can still collectively, there's no perfect strategy right now. If we had 7 months to figure this out and then we were asked to do that, then I think it would look different today, but this is the way it looks like. There's a lot of money that's going to unexpended that were dollars that were appropriated to help the small businesses. Those dollars, in my opinion, should be consolidated into one pool and then distributed to all the businesses that are, already have qualified, and even open up a fast track strategy to some of the businesses that have not been allowed. You were able to get Restore Rhode Island, which was somewhat of a help, but there was many, many businesses that wouldn't even qualify for Restore Rhode Island. And then many of our 2020 businesses that opened up, Diane, they didn't find out until 48 hours before the Restore Rhode Island application closed that they actually could qualify for some money. So how many of those actually participated?
Oh, I know. There's a lot of people that didn't know that even the grants were out there. I know I helped a few also get money along with Jennifer. and with my pleasure, I was more than happy to do that. People are struggling. I don't know what part they're missing, but this is just, I don't even have words for it. It's awful.
Yeah. And Diane, that's why I take this personal. During banking crisis, we came very close to the edge of the table in a business in Woonsocket, and had to go through a lot of anxiety, and there was always that part of you that thought maybe your house is on the line, maybe you can't make the payroll this week, maybe you can't pay the local taxes this week, and it's a lot of pressure. And I think if anything that this coalition has done, and you've been a big part of it, is to put a face on that. And your story, like I said, as other stories here right now, represent hundreds and hundreds of businesses. So you sharing that is in speaking on behalf of hundreds of businesses in the state of Rhode Island, if not thousands. So thank you.
Thank you. And every time the governor asks people not to travel, our phones just ring with cancellations. So please, we really need to get this up and running. I don't know. We really need to make this happen. We do have some big groups that are going to happen in June. Fingers crossed that we can still do that. So we'll see. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
and remember to give the gift of travel.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I mean, that's what Jennifer's saying. Gift certificates are all acceptable. Give a gift of travel and go to your local travel agency and book a trip that you end up providing the cash now and book the details later. So there's got to be some strategies that Diane can help you with. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Diane. Mike, yes, you're welcome. Mike, just share a little bit about your application on the pause and how you would use that to actually help your business, right?
Hello. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Yeah. So the application was, on the first time I filled it out, there's 46 questions. I got to question number 19. It asked me for my combined sales and meals taxes for September 2019. And then it said, thank you for your application. That was the end of it. Didn't say how much, what, how, or why. So, it's like, okay, if I figured that part out, that's like the worst month that I've had like in 3 years. And I will get 500. If I'm lucky per week, I might get 6, maybe, which will pay absolutely zero. It does nothing. I've got a workers' comp bill due right now. Right now for this month, I have to pay it or I can't stay open, and it's $1,900, and it's above and beyond. So I looked at the application again after they said they revamped it, thinking, okay, maybe they did us a favor. So they gave retail, the difference of the taxes from last year. Had I been able to file that way, because we had a banner year last year, especially in the fall and so forth, I would have got a check for anywhere from $34,000 to $50,000, which was the maximum. And there's no reason why not. We're losing at a rate of $16,000 to $20,000 a week right now. So, I mean, the only thing I'm able to pay is my food, my staff, and one other bill every week. My landlord or somebody.
Mike, if that's happening to you, that's happening to many, many other businesses, other restaurants. We were able to kind of get them to revise the calculation for the other non-restaurants. And just really, can you kind of just give me, I heard that, to use gross receipts in 2019 would get you up to a certain number. What's what if you had to shape the program, would you go on gross receipts of 2019, a percentage of that, or would you go on 2019 September sales tax stuff? What makes the most sense to you?
I go on gross receipts.
Gross receipts, okay. Thanks.
Because I do a lot
of and by the way, Mike, I think that we're going to make a play for that. We've been asked to. I've shared the letters with the coalition that we received from the governor and our response, and then our press release yesterday. They can go. There's still time for them to revise that calculation. There's still time to do that, and still meet the December 30th deadline. And I'm going to tell you, there's plenty of money left in that PAWS account to be able to distribute that extra dollars to the businesses that are, that it was intended for. So we need to keep that pressure on to do the math, redo the math formula so that, a business like yours can pay the $1,900 workman's comp and not be faced with a decision about, who gets the $600 you get, right? So it's not even laughable. I'm sorry for smiling. All right.
No, it is laughable. That's what the problem is that you sit here and you watch and we feed people constantly. We do so much and we're just sitting here going, you've got to be kidding me. We still have all our original staff. We're still up at 30 people. We laid off nobody.
Well, you heard from Matt earlier that, we grew from 70,000 to 75,000. I'm going to tell you, even with the extra distribution of another week for the people on that, there's millions of dollars that should be rolled into that one pool of dollars that I'm talking about. We're not going to go through the 50 million on that on any unemployment side. And we're not going to go through the 70 million, Mike, and we're not going through the 70 million on the PAWS program. I can tell you that right now. And I do know numbers, and I've been pretty accurate about where this deficit was going to be. And, the fact that these dollars could be used for grants, can't fill a hole in budgets, on and on and on. I'm telling you, there's going to be a substantial amount of money in the small business community that's listening out there. They should be asking their reps and senators and others to be calling and making sure that the excess dollars that aren't used get into the pockets of the small businesses. That's what I'm saying. Crystal, welcome.
Hello.
Tell us about SoFi Cycle. SoFit Cycle, excuse me.
Well, I have my notes here, but just a bit go off of what Mike just said. The governor, she stood there and she said this program, the grant program, would be 1, significant, 2, quick, 3, easy. And none of that has happened. Significant, we don't know what amount. Just like Mike said, that's how my grant survey, because it's off SurveyMonkey, said, thanks for applying. I have no idea how much we're going to get. We haven't seen anything yet. So it hasn't been quick because we're coming to the end of this pause soon. And easy, it really wasn't that easy, I guess I should say. But I think for small businesses, we need a long-term plan. The money is great if and when we get it, but it's almost like a Band-Aid covering a wound. So we need help. We are all in survival mode. As business owners and entrepreneurs, we are natural pivoters. We're creative, but those ideas are running short.
Yeah. So, Crystal, were you able to get Restore Rhode Island at all? Were you able to get any form of grants on your business at all?
So I have not gotten anything from Restore Rhode Island as of yet, but I was told that the maximum amount that I would qualify for would be $5,000.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that is like paying 1 month's rent.
And where's your cycle facility?
So located? We had two locations prior to COVID, and had to shut one down in Wickford, and we are only running the Warwick location on Bald Hill Road. So normally we run at 42 bikes. We are down to 15, and that will be like that. So that's 30% capacity. That will be that way, Lieutenant Governor, until social distancing goes away. So she can say we can go up to 60%. I can't until social distancing goes away, because every bike is stationed 6 feet and we have plexiglass in front of the bike. So yeah, this is survival. Yeah. But, so I get frustrated when, Governor Raimondo stands in front of everybody and kind of gives this false illusion that we are all being taken care of, that she speaks to us collectively almost. I don't know if anyone who's really had a conversation with her or if she really cares to listen to the reality of what she's putting us in. And when you go on WPRI and all these, the comments, people are saying, I have no idea why these businesses are complaining. They're getting money. It's not true. It's frustrating.
Yeah, Crystal, that's really frustrating because the headline, this is why I've been saying, you know, the headlines come out, 100 million went to small businesses. Well, it got appropriated, but it hasn't been allocated, right? So so that's why, you know, I live with the reality we're living in. You got a 2-week time frame here. That's why I'm asking for real-time money, real-time figures, and then pull those dollars and get it to all the businesses that at least all the businesses that have applied. And my understanding is that, you know, a second check is going to go out in the pause program without any application. So we know that people who have already applied can qualify for another advancement of dollars, but I don't hear any assurances that all the dollars that have been allocated, as you just said, are going to actually get into the business, help the small business.
Yeah.
They got the headline.
Yeah.
The headline said, as you said, the public thinks that these dollars are going out.
Oh,
but
yeah.
millions and millions of dollars that were advertised to go out are not going out.
Right.
So,
you know, we can do so much more with freedom than we can do with support. And right now, I feel like as business owners, we're getting neither.
Yeah. Well, I think that the fitness crew has put together a good presentation as we get into the. I think that's really strong, and I have been an advocate that before COVID is that we need to level playing fields between our bordering states. If they have an advantage, like the microbrewers in Massachusetts had an advantage because they weren't paying sales tax on the kegs, and we went and got the sales tax on the kegs, you know, removed. Today, if fitness centers are open or you know, self-defense studios are open or dance studios are open in the bordering states, we really have to get a good explanation why Rhode Island is not, you know, keeping us on a level playing field. So we'll keep on working on it. Crystal, thank you for coming and sharing your story today.
Well, we appreciate you, Lieutenant. Thank you so much for letting us have a voice. It means so much more than you would ever know.
Well, thanks. And we're going to continue to get the voice for the small businesses. And we're not done yet. I'm telling you, if we get real-time figures of what was allocated and what was spent, you're going to be amazed how many millions of dollars that were intended to go to small businesses that unless the state comes up with a plan, it's not going to go to the small businesses attended. That's my point right now. And we're going to keep on hounding. And then after the fact, we'll try to take lessons learned here and build a better mousetrap here, you know, coming in January and going forward. So, yeah. Kyle, welcome aboard. I know I saw you down in Warren, I believe, a few months back, and thank you for being on. But please bring us up to date on some of the things you would like to share in terms of the impact on the on the child care issues that are happening right now. State, by the way, many child care facilities were denied on the Restore Rhode Island and people that we're working with, which is, I just can't, I don't understand it at all, but just small time sole proprietors. But they're not just another ice cream shop, as we've said over and over again. It's people's business, their livelihood. Kyle, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I can't say enough. You know, I'm going to, quick background, I'm Apple Blossom Preschool. I am a private pay daycare facility in Barrington, Rhode Island. And with the help of your office and exposure, it took 7 weeks to have the governor realize that not all child care facilities were covered. They were covered if you were tied to federal funding and everything but what child private pay was covering, but we got through that. But in the interim, what I decided was they had this program called business adaptation. And from day one, the governor has asked the people of Rhode Island on every Wednesday or Thursday to listen what she's asking for and do what she says. So business adaptation. Okay, we're a preschool. We discuss with our licensing body, Department of Human Services, how about the idea of an outdoor classroom? Nicole Chilios, as recent as yesterday during a BOCA meeting with Nancy Bai, who I know you're comfortable with, said, Carl, that's great. We want it. I'm going to see what we can do. I get a refusal yesterday to an outdoor classroom, which is a combination of take it outside and the business adaptation in an industry where families are looking for daycares to provide them ideas of ways of why we should go to your daycare over another one. And I can say I have Take It Outside, an outdoor classroom. I have the town of Barrington supporting me with several thousands of dollars of their Take It Outside money, because I was told that I would get approved for a grant for a great idea from the Department of Human Services. It said yes. And yesterday at 6:30, after Nicole says, I'll try to give it my all, as Jennifer stated, I get a refusal as to your idea isn't good enough. What is the governor asking? She's asking for very simple things. The money's there. It's not being appropriated. And I want some transparency as to why wasn't that idea? The money's there. What's wrong with the idea? The town benefits, the state benefits. We're number one in preschool. I don't have a sniffle. I've done UV disinfectant in my business. I've done everything. Families want to know what you're doing. And I come up with an idea. Now they're looking at, oh, it mustn't be a good idea if the state's not giving you a grant to do it. What's the message here in trying to get us to adapt to something with really hard ideas? And I've now invested my own money in order to support Barrington's efforts to put this at several tens of thousands. And I'm going to go ahead and put an outdoor classroom to show the state that not only is there an outdoor space, but there's a way to bring children back to childcare, because children need to be in childcare in that age group, and doing it outside is a way of doing it. What better opportunity for the state to say, stand up and do it, and then not give a reason, and I can't talk to anybody to get a reason. So, Lieutenant
Carl, well, thanks for your innovation there. I have my own personal opinion on that. We shouldn't be creating these competitive grants for just the reason that you and Jennifer just talked about. That you're going to have many, many people who put the time in, anticipating getting resources in a time frame when you have to manage your business, which is difficult enough to keep the key in your hand at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. So, but they did open it up. They should be able to give you an explanation of the questions you're at. You deserve that. But again, it's just another reflection. I hope it's a lesson learned here. You do competitive grants, competitive strategies when you're not in a pandemic. When you could walk away and say, oh, my idea was, I didn't get the dollars, but that's okay. I still can run my business. Right now, you need that money to run your business. And hundreds of businesses were given the impression that they were going to qualify for this competitive grant. We're playing a survivor game here. Those dollars should have been pooled, in my opinion, and distributed as equitably as we can to every business in the state that fits the criteria that we're talking about. And then you could have been encouraged by, I'm going to be talking to the Kauffman Foundation, which has a business plan model, new business plan model that I've been talking to them the last year before COVID and now, about coming to Rhode Island and talking about it. That's where you put the Rhode Island Foundation with the Cotta Innovation Grants. Those are all good things and creates good innovation. But we're in a pandemic. We're in an economic crisis, and we're going to have these businesses compete for competitive grants. It's misleading. Quite frankly, it's cruel for you to be in that spot that you just explained. As far as I'm concerned, those dollars should have been just distributed as best we can. There's no good formula, no perfect formula, but having people compete for these things, Kyle, how do you feel about being told that, hey, you didn't get it, but somebody else got it? Well,
it's disheartening, because I had to not only go through zoning regulations and town approvals and permits and get it all done in a timely fashion so that I could have my application in. Then I have my licensing organization approve it. And then I go with their sanction, saying it's the best idea that they've seen and come up with, and are standing behind me. The town comes up with money, figuring this is a guarantee. Go to the state, meet every requirement, and then in the 11th hour be told, no, we don't think so, with no reason, when all of the work to get people to come together and make all that happen in a matter of a couple weeks in building and zoning and meetings and to allow a structure to be put up. with a good idea. It just doesn't make sense for what she says on Wednesdays at her meetings, that come up with good ideas and we'll fund them. And then you do, and you're just left with no hope. It's just unfortunate for everybody. And people need to realize that we need to stand together. The coalition is amazing. This forum, I can't say enough, and I appreciate you having me on today. Thank you.
Yeah, Carl, but you bring up a good point. You and Jennifer, all the ideas that we spent a lot of time on, they should not go to waste. We should probably be pooling those and then figure some strategy to make those happen, in a way that, doesn't cannibalize one business against the other. I'm just saying, I just can't deal with that, but anyways, but those good ideas, there's probably an avenue. I'll be talking about the Kaufman Foundation about maybe funding some of these ideas through some sort of foundational grants. Maybe the Rhode Island Foundation would step up and take a look at that right now. They certainly have resources that could potentially help, but that's where those competitive grants belong, not with businesses who are falling off the cliff, as we heard, and then have people fighting to stay aboard, but other people fall down because they didn't get the competitive grant. Yeah, anyways. I wanted to thank we went a little over time, but everybody's story was important, and I'm going to be sharing these, and I'm going to be sharing them to the people who want to tell the story. Dan York is one of them. He's been very, very generous with his time, and Jim Hummel is as well. And some of the other media, hopefully they're going to start really weighing in on this in a way that, gives a true sense of what is happening here and challenge the governor, to change, in the next 24 hours, 48 hours, to change the strategy of pooling these dollars and getting them out to the businesses in the state. If you distribute another $30-40 million, because that's what I think is probably left over from these $45 million alone on the job training that came out as a small business initiative, there's no way in the world that we spent 10% of that $45 million in job training. That belongs in the small business pocket. I would say there's $40-50 million available that could get distributed right now, and everybody could get and if Crystal gets another $5,000 check, well, at least that's $10,000, so we really should be pushing for that. And that we'll bring back to the coalition in the next 24 hours to see whether we make any progress. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, y'all.
Yep. So there you go. I mean, we go over a little over time here, but I tell you, you can see that we have more and more businesses who would like to get on and tell their story about the impact that the COVID has had on their business. But I can tell you, every time any individual comes up with their particular story, they're sharing the story of hundreds of not thousands of small businesses in the state of Rhode Island. There's things that we can do right now up against that December 30th deadline. Pool all the dollars that were allocated to help the small business that are going unused, pool those dollars into one pool, and then distribute those dollars in a way that is quick and fast. And if we have to go back to all the businesses that have received dollars, then so be it. If we can open it up in some way at the last minute, the businesses that have not been able to be involved, and then we should try to do that. But at the very least, we should get, if X amount of dollars has been allocated to help the small business, 150 million or more, and we only allocate 50, 60, 70, or 80, $100,000 of that, we got to find a way to distribute all of it, because it was intended to be helping the small businesses. That's where it belongs. So we're going to continue to work on that. I want to thank you for everybody who has watched in or shared their stories here in our panel that continues to come on every week to provide valuable information. You can call our office if you want to engage in any discussions that impacting you right now. And also you can email us as well. But until we say hello again, I'll be on a community conversation tomorrow night at 7:00, and we'll be again talking about important issues that are facing the state of Rhode Island. And we'll be back again on Tuesday. And happy holidays to everybody. Enjoy. And then this is a time to count our blessings, and the vaccine is one of those blessings for sure. Thank you all for joining. Stay safe. Wear your mask.